Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hard Count. Today, the best team in America, the Detroit Lions. We're going to break them down, tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, how far they're going to go. Are they going to win their division? We don't know. There's so much hype on this train. Let's get into the video.
Because we're going to give you money.
No, the best YouTube channel of your entire life.
We also have vlogs, any special content we can give you, and you follow our lives around weekly.
Alright, y'all, it is time. It is time to break down these Detroit Motor City kitties. We're going to break them down and give them a power score, a THC Power Score. No, not weed, the hard count. Thank you very much. See how these scenarios and games pan out, whether they have a short week, a long week, they gotta fly across the country, go to London. These things matter and they add up in the end. We will give them a record, see what they accomplish before the playoffs, and also what teams in the playoffs they can get passed by and win those games. Before we get into this, let me break down how we take these teams apart and assign these points to each position. When breaking down these NFL teams, we go from coach all the way down to cornerback, and we assign each of these positions a point value. For example, a quarterback is going to be worth a lot more than a running back in today's modern NFL. Let's run by these point values super quick. At the coaching staff, we have assigned 20 points to them. At quarterback, we have also assigned 20 points to them. For the remaining of the offense, we have 8 points for wide receivers and O-linemen, 5 points for tight ends, and 4 points for running backs. On the other side of the ball, we've assigned the cornerback and nickel group 10 points, the edge defender group 10 points, the interior D linemen 6 points, 5 points to the safeties, and 4 points to the inside linebackers. Now that we have broken down how many points are going to each position, let's go across this Detroit Lions team and tell you what I valued them at for this scale. Let's start at the coaching staff. I've handed them 17 points out of 20. That is a lot, but it's for very good reason. I believe Dan Campbell as a whole is he's a younger coach, so 15 points is what he'd be alone, but since Ben Johnson stayed, what he did last year with our offense and Jared Goff, that's an instant 2-point boost for me in my opinion. That is why I have this coaching staff at 17 points out of 20. For the quarterback room, I have Jared Goff and Hendon Hooker at 14 out of 20. That is a very good score. You have to understand, I'm not grading this as in 70's good, 80's great. No, like if you are 14, 15, 16, you're a stud of a QB. I love this QB room. What Jared Goff was able to put together last year in that season, he was hot, he was on fire, and he was confident. Ben Johnson really brought out the best in him last year, and he showed that he can be a top 10 QB and play up to those standards if he's put in the correct system. And at backup, we have Hendon Hooker. He hasn't played a snap in the NFL, but I think there's good things to come there as well. At wide receiver, I gave them 5 out of 8. I believe fully healthy, this squad is a 6 out of 8, but they are missing Jameson Williams, their first-round pick, for 6 games. And with that, I can only rank them so high. But you still have a very good wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown, and nothing crazy, but just solid all around. That's why I have them 5 out of 8. For the Detroit Lions offensive line, I gave them 8 out of 8 points. Yes, a perfect score. They were phenomenal last year, and they never even played together healthy. I believe this squad is second to none, maybe the Philadelphia Eagles, but they are young, they are explosive, they can beat you in the run game, the pass game, it does not matter, they do it all. At tight end, I gave this group a 3 out of 5. This tight end group is a bunch of just solid players, no studs here, so I had them at a 2 out of 5 originally, but they picked Sam Laporta up, and I think it's going to add a dynamic to that group that makes them a 3 out of 5. At running back, I think this is one of the best running back rooms in the entire NFL. A perfect yin and yang, and David Montgomery to Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr can do everything out of the backfield in the slot. He can catch anything. He can even run between the tackles if you want him to. That's not what he's best at, and that is why you have David Montgomery. Dude, he's an absolute shitball wrecking machine. Put him between the tackles with this offensive line and watch him work. He's going to be great this year. Now going to the defensive side of the ball, we will start at the edge position, where I give the Detroit Lions a 6 out of 10. I might have been a little bit lenient here, but besides Aiden Hutchinson, a somewhat healthy Charles Harris, and of course James Houston, who had a breakout year, besides those 3 players who can really just win one-on-one, the Lions have to do a lot of stunts to get these guys open and off these offensive linemen. The Lions signed another staple pass rusher. This could bump them up to a 7 or an 8 out of 10, but they're still at a 6 in my opinion, and they got lots to work on. For cornerback and nickel, I have this group going from a 3 or a 2 or a 4 all the way to a 7. This was the number one thing the Detroit Lions cared about this offseason. Their starting 3 cornerbacks are all brand new in Emmanuel Mosley, Cameron Sutton, and the man, the myth, the legend, CJ Gardner-Johnson. Guys, I cannot explain what this is going to do to the Detroit Lions defense. This man is the truth. He is who the Philadelphia Eagles ran through last year. When he was off the field, they were nowhere near the same. He locks down that nickel position. He could play safety, nickel, corner, doesn't matter. Put him on your best guy, and he's going to shut it down for you. This group was the biggest upgrade this offseason, and I can't wait to see it put together. At safety, we have Tracy Walker and Kirby Joseph, and I gave them a 4 out of 5. This group is young and underrated. Tracy Walker is a very solid safety, along with Kirby Joseph, who made Aaron Rodgers peace out, retire, and say sayonara to the NFC North. This safety group is borderline elite. They got to prove themselves. I'm giving them a bump here at 4. They could be a 3, but I like them at 4. They're going to ball out this year. At interior D-line, I gave us a 3 out of 6. Ali McNeil is an emerging star, and Bugs is a very solid player, but they still have to prove themselves and show that they are who they say they are. Then finally, at interior linebacker, I have them at a 2 out of 4. This might be a little bit under. I don't care. They got to prove themselves. Alex Anzalone, solid player. He's not great. He's not elite, but he's solid. I think Jack Campbell coming in at middle linebacker will be a stud, but we have to remind ourselves he is a rookie. There's going to be growing pains this year, so that's why I have them at a 2 out of 4. With this, the overall Detroit Lions THC Power Score is at 73 out of 100. I truly believe this score reflects what this team is. They got plenty of star power on this team to make a run, but they are still 1 or 2 difference makers away from truly making that Super Bowl push. Now let's run through this schedule and see how the Lions are going to perform this year. Starting off at the Chiefs, guys, great game. I'm so ecstatic that they're going to be kicking off this season, but Andy Reid does not lose in September. You cannot beat him in September, and especially the opening game at home. The Lions are chalking up and now, though. We got 0 wins. The Lions come home and play the Seahawks. Very, very good game here. I think the Lions, they are who they say they are. They win this game, so we'll chalk up 1 win on the board. Next, we have the Falcons at home. Easy dub, 2 wins on the board. Then we have a 4-game turnaround and go to Lambeau Field. I know the Lions are better than the Packers, but 4 games on the road is not easy. I'm chalking up a loss there for the Lions. Then we come home and play the Panthers after 10 days. That's a win. Next week, the Lions head to Tampa Bay. They're going to win that one. Then they go on the road and play the Ravens. The Ravens are a very good team. I don't think the Lions pull one out there. Head back home and play the Raiders. Chalk up another win there. After a bye week, the Lions head on the road to Los Angeles. I believe they pull this win out against the Chargers. Heading back to Detroit, the Lions will face off against the Bears. That is another win in my book. Next, the Lions take on the Packers at home, and they'll get their revenge and get a win. After the Thanksgiving game, the Lions will head on the road to play New Orleans in their house. Not only do I believe the Lions are a better team than the New Orleans Saints, they're going to have 10 days to prepare. This is going to be a win for the Detroit Lions. The Lions will head to Windy City, Chicago, where it's going to be freezing. It's going to be cold. I believe their team is better suited to win on the road in the cold with that great offensive line. I think they pull out a win there as well, putting them at 10 wins on the season. These next 2 games to take the Vikings on the road and the Cowboys on the road, I believe these are both 2 L's. Those are hard games on the road to finish the season. Finally, with 11 wins in their pocket, it's going to come down to 1 game in Detroit against the Minnesota Vikings for the division for the first time in my lifetime, 20 plus years. Do they pull it off? I believe they do. So there you have it. I have the Detroit Lions finishing at 12-5 as division winners, beating the Vikings on the last game for home playoff advantage. Now, the Lions have won the NFC North for the first time in years and years and years, and they are in the playoffs. Where do we go now? The NFC is very weak this year, and I believe there are 2 teams that is an automatic L for the Lions, and 2 teams that will be a dogfight for the Lions. And they could win it, they could lose it. It's about a coin flip. Those 2 teams that I don't want the Lions to ever see in the playoffs is the Eagles and the 49ers. The Lions will lose that game, no doubt in my mind. The other 2 teams that the Lions could run into and pull out a win, it's going to be a tough game though, an absolute dogfight. The Cowboys and the Seahawks. I believe those will be some great divisional round playoff games, and I can't wait to watch them. Guys, so there you have it. With a THC score of 73, the Lions go 12-5 and have a real shot at a playoff run as long as they avoid the Eagles and the 49ers. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please comment below what team you want to see next on this list that we could break down and go game by game and see how far they will go in the playoffs. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and don't forget the brand new one, Threads, just dropped this week. I'm recording a little bit earlier, so it just dropped this week. Go follow us on Threads as well. All tags are at HardCountLive. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go tell somebody you love them. Have a great day. Peace.